This was the second Friday night on June the 4th. And the first tag team match, your prophecy or your explanation for what the Bucks are doing is still holding true. They got the first match with the hottest crowd before anybody's ever done anything else in the ring, so they can go and do all their shit and then get out of there without getting anything on them. And here we go again.
That's right.
And this time the fall guys are Pac and Penthouse, because they've explained that the Cucamonga kids hurt Felix, Penthouse's brother and partner, in the locker room today, but they won't show it because it was too disgusting. Which means apparently this guy's plane was canceled or he's hurt and he didn't even get there. And they also said that Moxley is hurt, quote unquote hurt, from the shitty looking knee lifts that what do the Young Bucks call those knee lifts where they hold the guy's on his knees and they hold each of his hands and then they throw their knees into the guy's shoulder by his neck like they're really hitting him in the head, but it doesn't look like it because they look like shit. What do they call those?
The big Wii.
No, that's not what they call it.
They call it they have so many stupid names. The bang for the buck?
No, that's the BTE fucking something or other.
Trigger. The BTE trigger.
Twinkle Toes has the V trigger. That's his little.
No, and they have one named after their little YouTube show. They have the BTE trigger, I think.
Oh God, whatever. They hurt Moxley with that last week, and Felix is out. So now Pac and Penthouse, who are supposed to be, I guess, the baby faces, even though they've just flopped back and forth every week with the wind. They're taking on the Cucamonga kids, who've got Don Callis, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows in the corner with them. And at least when they come out.
Oh, okay.
When they come out.
Where was Alex? Where's Alex Abrahantes, the translator? That guy was great.
Well, Penthouse didn't say anything to need translating. But he's the best thing. He's the only good thing of that whole fucking.
But I mean, that's weird. I mean, it was never like, here's the Midnight Express this week. They're going to do something dumb, so Jim Cornette's being kept away from them. He's back with them next week. Like, all of a sudden, he's going to be back with them again next time?
Alex probably doesn't want to say anything because they just fired his partner, old Willie Urbina, the other Spanish language announcer, because in a commercial break, he fucking made fun of fucking Sheeta's accent. So they fired him. A commercial break, not on the air. They aired it on Fight TV or something. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, we talked about it on the show, on the Drive-Thru.
Did we?
Yeah.
Well, I hadn't heard it.
Do you listen to the show, Mr. Cornette?
I listen to it when I do it, but I heard the clip. And for like 15 seconds, he's a Spanish guy doing a Japanese accent, and the other girls that were doing announcing with him are laughing at it, and then they went on. I thought he said something horrible about her or all Japanese people, or that they're all just rotten or something. And instead, he just did a fucking accent for 15 seconds at a commercial break, and the other announcers laughed at him. They fired him. So Alex probably doesn't want to say anything.
I didn't even think about that. Is he their only? I guess they have Thunder Rosa and Dasha with the other two commentators. But other than that, is there anyone else that does Spanish commentating there? Is he the only person? He must be stuck to the table now.
If they had 4 and now they've got 3, then I guess they still got enough. I don't know.
No, come on, Jim. This is AEW. We don't go with those boring old wrestling tropes. There's never enough commentators.
Never enough announcers. We need a
sign everyone to be a commentator. Anyone you could find, make them a commentator. Just create a show.
Boyd Pierce used to say that. He said, you know, I recently fell in love with a potato, and I asked her to marry me. And she said, well, I can't marry you, Boyd Pierce, unless you go and meet my parents. So I went to her house, and I met her parents, Mr. Potato and Mrs. Potato. And I asked them if I could marry their daughter. And they said, oh, no, not in a million years. And I said, why? And they said, because you're just a commentator.
Oh, boy.
That's what it was funny when Boyd Pierce said.
I could see you appreciating it and liking it. And I would even do that, too, if he was saying it. If he's saying that in the locker room, who else is he saying that to? I can't see, like, Hercules Hernandez being like, That's a good one, Boyd.
The boys loved Boyd Pierce. He was fucking hilarious and so friendly and such a nice man. Everybody laughed at Boyd stuff. Anyway, so in this match, they're barely to the ring in the entrances when Kaz comes out, Frankie Kazarian, and jumps Michael, knock it the fuck off and get off my television, and then ran off. Because he's the, what do they call him? The elite hunter? So as soon as that happens, Pac and Penthouse jumpstart the thing and fucking knock the heels, well, whoever the heels are, the Cucamonga kids out on the floor and hit them with stereo dives over the top rope and a big four-way on the floor, while referee Rick Corpse is doing absolutely nothing about it. And then the bell rang to start the match. So they figured out people were complaining because every match was a jump start and just out of control, and the referee was doing nothing. So now they jump start it, get it out of control, the referee does nothing, and then they ring the bell to start the match. But then it's the same as always. They're still doing everything, and the referee does nothing. So keeping it light and frivolous, I will say that it's the same thing as they always do. They did a bunch of moves back and forth. The Cucamonga kids made some funny faces. They pranced around acting like kids playing their favorite heel wrestlers. They act like you can't see what they look like so that you might buy it. If you couldn't see what they look like, you might buy it because they do good imitations. But then you see that they still look like small children. Pac got the ice cold tag to Penthouse, and he made a 3-move comeback, then brought it to a halt, then did 2 more moves, got a 2 count, and then just cold tagged back out. And then they start some more tag match. So
one of my favorite things has become, Jim, during these matches, noticing what inopportune moments Penta does his Zero Miedo thing. Just at the worst possible times, he decides he has
to just bring everything to a complete halt. But yeah, so, Pac cold tagged back out. Penthouse is back in with the Cucamonga kids, Pie Face and Balding. Do you know, as when the Young Bucks were kids and they played hide and seek, they couldn't get anybody to look for them? Have I ever told you about that?
You have not, no.
Okay, Penthouse did the double foot stomp off the top rope onto Pie Face's balls in front of the referee. Then the whole thing fell apart. They did multiple Canadian destroyers. They did a simultaneous package pile driver and German suplex on the apron of the ring. Both of them, of course, looked like shit, but were dangerous. Balding, Buck, and Penthouse stood in the ring and exchanged leg kicks and shitty forearms until Penthouse ran and hit the ropes and accidentally stuck his finger in the referee's eye, and then Balding Buck just grabbed Penthouse's mask by the top of it and just jerked it off with no resistance whatsoever. But guess what? He had another one on underneath. For those who haven't seen actual pro wrestling, as it was done once upon a time before everybody lost the plot, if you advertised a match where a mask was at stake, especially if it was the baby face, like the Bullet, Bob Armstrong, when he was under the mask as the Bullet, or fucking whoever your masked baby face was, Mr. Wrestling 2 in Atlanta, and he would have to put his mask up to get a title shot or to get something the heel would put up or whatever. And then to keep the program going, the heel some way would cheat and win. Cheat right in front of everybody, so everybody was mad about it. But he'd win the match, and then now you have to take your mask off. And the chances are the masked man, if he was revealed to be whoever, he'd have to leave the territory. And the fans are screaming, no, no, don't take it off. No, no, we don't want you to take it off. But he would take it off and reveal another mask underneath. And the people would cheer, and the heel would pitch a fit, and the babyface would make a comeback. And you'd go to the next fucking episode in the program. There was no reason for this stupid idiot to be wearing 2 masks because nobody's ever taken it off before, have they? Or how did he know they were going to try to take his mask off?
They took off his brothers. They took off his brothers.
Oh, golly. Well, then maybe there's a reason. Maybe he should have tied that top one down a little better so it looked like they had to work to get that off. It just came out of nowhere because once again, they've seen wrestling angles done in the past on tape via YouTube. They just don't understand the context or the application. So anyway, he pulls the mask off, but the guy's got another one on underneath it. So the people are like, hey, huh? And then, did you see Pac hit that twisting splash off the top rope? And Pac, he may not be tall, but he's fucking thick. So he's got to go 220 pounds. He goes 10 feet in the air. He flips a couple of times. He splashes Balding Buck, gets a 2 count, and Pieface makes the save. And 15 seconds, not 15 seconds, after he hit that guy with a splash, old Brandon Cutlet, he goes to do it again. Pac does, and old Brandon Cutlet knocks Pac off the top rope, and the guy that just took Pac's finish jumps up and pins him. What the fuck? But that finish out of nowhere was not the end of it because, of course, there was an afterbirth where the Cucamonga kids do the thing where they throw those shitty-looking, fake-looking kicks pretending to get a heat on somebody until Eddie Kingston hit the ring and made a save. And Bill Watts would have fined Eddie Kingston $100 for making that save because he was in a fucking tank top, baggy shorts, and I don't know if he was wearing flip-flops, but it sure looked like an outfit that would called for him. Bill Watts actually fined Dr. Death Steve Williams one night in Houston for running in to make the save for the babyfaces dressed unprofessionally, wearing gym shorts, a t-shirt, and flip-flops.
Would you want Eddie Kingston running in there in a suit?
No. I'm just saying Bill Watts would have fucking fined him. I wish he would wear something that was more flattering to his upper body than that tank top or basketball uniform or whatever he's wearing, but
he looks like a guy in the street. He looks real.
He looks like a guy in the street with pale arms. I'm just saying, you could cover them up a little bit. But anyway, what did you think of this tag team match? Was it any different from anything we see from these guys every single week?
You know, typically I grade the Young Bucks matches a little higher than you do. I appreciate them at times a lot more than you do, and I don't have any personal animosity between these two very nice young Christian boys from Lake Cucamonga, whatever.
They're Christian as fuck, from what I understand, from their people who have seen their comedy program. That's a thing. They said, we're Christian as fuck.
Well, as long as there's some fucking going on, I guess that's a move in the right direction. But Jim, what I was going to say is I typically rate their matches higher than you do. This time I'm probably either right there with you or I hate it more than you do. It was so bad, and everyone's attention has been on the referee. Now they're kind of making it into a gimmick. Apparently on their comedy show, they show them bribing the referee, and you hear it on commentary a little bit here about the referee and what's wrong with him. Jim Ross is bringing it up more and more. But it ruins the matches for me. I mean, look, maybe I'm too much of an old school fan where there have to be rules. I mean, even when I was a kid, I knew like the babyfaces can't just run wild and have a tornado match and beat up everybody nonstop, especially if they're 5'10". But
wait a minute. Are they wearing lifts?
Well, maybe good point. But
are they heightening? That's immoral to be out there heightening.
I didn't like it. I hated the finish. I hate with the death triangle, you can never tell what's going on. Some weeks they're together. Some weeks Penta has his manager who's really good in that role. Some weeks he doesn't. He had a 2-week program with Cody for no reason whatsoever. But anyway, back to this.
Yeah.
I really didn't like it at all. And I've said to you that I like the Young Bucks as heels. I prefer them like this than trying to pretend like they're good people. I prefer them like this. And I do think the Matt Jackson overacting is so bad. He can't even just act like he just be a dick instead of acting like someone who's
acting like a dick.
Yeah. And Nick Jackson, I thought he was really good the last several weeks because it didn't really infect him so much. Even he's now hamming it up as well. I did not like this at all. And again,
a lot of people are going to say,
I don't always kill them. I don't always kill them like you do.
I know, but a lot of people are going to say we complained because they had no personality. Now they're trying to have personality. The problem is they're trying to pretend to have everybody else's personality. They're imitating their favorite legendary wrestlers' struts and walks and motions and facials. Was it this show or was it last week that Pieface tried to walk around like Randy Savage? He walks around like Randy Savage's fucking forearm.